Activate the Success Mode, by George Wells. Success is not a destination, it's a mode of being. Over the years, I have studied the science of motivation, psychology, and human behavior to uncover what truly sets high achievers apart. This book is the result of that journey, a step-by-step manual designed to help you activate your own success mode, regardless of where you start. Each chapter is carefully crafted to challenge old patterns and replace them with empowering mindsets and behaviors. This isn't about overnight miracles, it's about sustainable growth fueled by a deep understanding of your inner world and the environment you create around yourself. Whether you are facing setbacks or ready to level up, Activate the Success Mode provides the clarity, tools, and inspiration to take charge of your life and transform your potential into reality. I invite you to commit fully and embark on this empowering path toward your most successful self. Chapter 1, Understanding Success Mode: The Psychology Behind Achievement. Success is a term that carries immense weight in our lives. It is often the goal we strive for, the achievement we seek, and the state of being we aspire to maintain. But what if success is not simply a destination or a milestone? What if success is, instead, a mode of operating, a psychological state that can be activated within us? To truly activate success mode, one must first understand the underlying psychological framework that drives achievement and sustained fulfillment. At its core, success mode is a mental state characterized by clarity, purpose, and an unwavering belief in one's ability to overcome obstacles. It is a mindset, but not just any mindset. It is the mental configuration that aligns your thoughts, emotions, and actions towards consistent progress and meaningful outcomes. This chapter invites you to explore the science behind this transformative state, unraveling the complex interplay of motivation, cognitive patterns, and behavior that forms the foundation of success. The journey to success begins with understanding how the human mind processes goals and rewards. Psychologists have long studied motivation, the internal mechanism that propels individuals toward desired outcomes. Motivation is not a simple, one-dimensional force but rather a multifaceted phenomenon that encompasses intrinsic drives, those that arise from within ourselves, and extrinsic motivators, which stem from external rewards or recognition. While extrinsic motivators can spark action, intrinsic motivation is what fuels endurance, passion, and resilience in the face of setbacks. This intrinsic motivation often flourishes when we connect deeply with the purpose behind our goals. When success is anchored to a meaningful why, it ignites a powerful psychological engine. This is why many successful individuals describe their journey as one driven by passion and purpose rather than mere rewards. The activation of success mode, therefore, begins with discovering or reaffirming your purpose, knowing why your goal matters to you on a profound level. Purpose creates a magnetic force that pulls your mind toward success even when external circumstances seem discouraging. Our brain's reward system plays a critical role in sustaining this drive. When we anticipate or experience progress toward a goal, dopamine, a neurotransmitter linked to pleasure and reward, is released, encouraging us to repeat behaviors that led to positive outcomes. This neurological feedback loop is essential for maintaining motivation over time. However, success mode requires more than just chasing rewards. It demands the ability to regulate these neurochemical signals and maintain balance. Excessive reliance on external validation or short-term rewards can derail progress, causing burnout or frustration when results do not meet expectations. A central piece of the success mode puzzle is the concept of mindset, famously explored by psychologist Carol Dweck. Her research distinguishes between fixed and growth mindsets. Individuals with a fixed mindset believe their abilities and intelligence are static and unchangeable, which often leads to avoidance of challenges and fear of failure. Conversely, those with a growth mindset embrace learning and effort as pathways to development, seeing failures as opportunities to improve. Activating success mode requires cultivating this growth mindset, which rewires your brain to perceive obstacles as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. But mindset alone is not enough. Success mode is also about how you engage with your environment and yourself daily. It involves deliberate focus, disciplined action, and emotional regulation. The psychological state of flow, often described as complete immersion and optimal experience in an activity, is closely related to success mode. When in flow, people perform at their highest level, lose track of time, and experience a deep sense of fulfillment. Understanding and harnessing flow can help you maintain motivation and productivity, even during challenging tasks. The ability to sustain success mode over the long haul also ties closely to emotional intelligence. This refers to recognizing, understanding, and managing your emotions as well as empathizing with others. High emotional intelligence allows you to navigate social situations effectively, maintain resilience under stress, and make thoughtful decisions. When activated, success mode integrates emotional intelligence to maintain mental clarity and reduce the impact of negative emotions such as anxiety, doubt, or frustration. Another key aspect to consider is the brain's neuroplasticity, the ability to reorganize and form new neural connections in response to learning and experience. This scientific discovery confirms that success is not predetermined by innate talent or intelligence. Instead, anyone can train their brain to adopt success-oriented habits, thoughts, and behaviors. Activating success mode is essentially a process of rewiring your brain through consistent practice and intention. Understanding how your cognitive biases influence your decisions is also crucial in this process. Our brains are wired with shortcuts that sometimes distort reality and lead us to irrational conclusions. For instance, confirmation bias makes us favor information that supports our existing beliefs while ignoring contradicting evidence. Awareness of such biases helps you make more objective, clear-headed decisions that are aligned with your goals rather than your fears or assumptions. The psychology of goal setting reveals that how you set and frame your objectives significantly impacts your ability to achieve them. Goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound, SMART goals, provide clarity and structure, making it easier to track progress and stay motivated. More importantly, the process of setting goals engages your brain's executive functions, activating regions responsible for planning, prioritizing, and problem-solving. This mental activation is a form of success mode itself, where your brain is focused on navigating the path toward desired outcomes. Yet, activating success mode also requires a conscious effort to manage distractions and cultivate focus. In today's world of constant information bombardment, the ability to maintain attention on critical tasks is increasingly rare and valuable. Psychological research shows that multitasking reduces efficiency and increases cognitive fatigue. Instead, deliberate practice of single tasking and time management strategies can help you maintain success mode for longer periods. The interplay between motivation, mindset, emotional intelligence, neuroplasticity, and cognitive control forms a robust psychological framework. It demonstrates that success is not a passive stroke of luck but a dynamic and active process that can be cultivated through intentional mental and behavioral patterns. Success mode emerges when these elements align, creating a mental ecosystem optimized for achievement. The environment you create around yourself can either support or hinder this activation. Psychologists refer to this as the concept of behavioral context. Your surroundings, social networks, and daily routines all influence your mindset and habits. To activate success mode fully, it is essential to curate an environment that minimizes negative influences and maximizes stimuli that reinforce positive behavior. This could mean surrounding yourself with motivated individuals, structuring your day with productive rituals, or eliminating toxic distractions. Moreover, self-awareness stands as the gateway to success mode. Being attuned to your thoughts, feelings, and actions allows you to recognize when you are slipping into counterproductive patterns and make conscious adjustments. Practices like mindfulness and journaling enhance this self-awareness, empowering you to stay aligned with your goals and values. Understanding success mode also involves accepting the inevitability of failure and uncertainty. The human brain naturally seeks certainty and fears failure because they threaten its sense of control and security. Yet, paradoxically, success often demands embracing risk and navigating ambiguity. By reframing failure as a feedback mechanism, a source of learning rather than defeat, you enable your brain to respond adaptively rather than shutting down in fear. This cognitive flexibility is a hallmark of success mode. Finally, it is important to acknowledge that success mode is not a permanent state but a fluctuating condition that requires ongoing activation. Just as muscles need regular exercise to stay strong, your mental and emotional faculties need consistent engagement and nurturing to remain in success mode. This means that the activation of success mode is both an achievement and a responsibility. It is an ongoing commitment to intentionality, growth, and resilience. Success is no longer a distant hope but an accessible state of being. Your mind is capable of incredible transformation. By mastering the psychology behind achievement, you unlock the power to live a life designed by your own intention and fueled by an unstoppable inner drive. The mode is within you, waiting to be activated. Chapter 2: The Power of Vision, Designing Your Success Blueprint. Vision is more than just a fleeting thought or a vague hope for the future. It is the blueprint from which all meaningful achievement flows. Without vision, effort lacks direction and motivation loses its fuel. A clear vision acts like a magnetic force that draws you forward through uncertainty, setbacks, and challenges. This chapter will explore the transformative power of vision, unveiling how to design a success blueprint that aligns with your deepest desires and values, and how this vision rewires your brain and behavior to create lasting change. The human mind craves clarity. When faced with uncertainty, it generates anxiety and hesitation. A well-defined vision, however, provides a mental map that reduces ambiguity and enhances focus. It is the mental image of what you want to create in your life, a vivid, compelling destination that sparks emotional and cognitive engagement. This engagement is critical because it activates the brain's goal-oriented systems, setting into motion the processes that make success possible. Science has shown that the brain does not fully distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you visualize yourself achieving your goals with great detail, feeling the emotions, hearing the sounds, noticing the sights, your brain activates many of the same neural pathways as if the event were actually happening. This phenomenon is why athletes mentally rehearse before competition and why visualization techniques have been embraced in fields from business to the arts. It essentially programs your brain for success by strengthening the neural connections related to the behaviors and attitudes required. Creating a vision is not about wishful thinking or passive dreaming. It requires deliberate and disciplined mental work. The process begins by identifying what matters most to you, not what others expect, not what society praises, but what truly resonates within your core. This alignment with your values creates authenticity in your vision, making it a sustainable source of motivation. When your vision reflects your authentic self, it becomes a beacon that guides every decision and action with clarity and passion. Once you have clarity on what you want, the next step is to articulate your vision in detail. Specificity is key. A vague vision like "I want to be successful" does not provide enough information for your subconscious mind to grasp or act upon. Instead, imagine what success looks like in your life. What does your typical day involve? What feelings do you experience? What impact do you have on those around you? How do you contribute to your community or field? These questions help transform abstract desires into concrete mental images that your brain can use as a template for behavior. Vision also operates through the power of emotion. The emotional intensity connected to your vision dramatically influences your motivation and persistence. Emotions act as the internal fuel that drives action. Positive emotions such as excitement, pride, and hope energize the mind and body, while negative emotions like fear or doubt can either hinder or catalyze change depending on how they are managed. Cultivating positive emotional associations with your vision creates a powerful motivational anchor that pulls you forward, especially when the journey gets difficult. Another dimension of vision's power lies in its ability to organize and prioritize your focus. With a clear blueprint, you can make decisions more quickly and confidently because you have a framework against which to evaluate options. This mental shortcut saves cognitive energy and prevents paralysis by analysis. When your vision is crystal clear, distractions lose their grip, and your daily habits begin to reflect the direction you intend to move. This alignment between vision and action is what psychologists call congruence, when your internal goals and external behaviors match, and it is a critical factor in achieving long-term success. However, vision is not a static entity. It must evolve as you grow and learn more about yourself and your environment. A dynamic vision adapts to changing circumstances without losing sight of its core purpose. This flexibility allows you to stay resilient and responsive while maintaining a steady trajectory toward your broader ambitions. Those who cling rigidly to outdated or unrealistic visions often find themselves stuck, frustrated, or burnt out. The key is to revisit and refine your vision regularly, ensuring it continues to inspire and challenge you. The act of writing down your vision further solidifies its power. Writing engages multiple cognitive processes, including organization, reflection, and commitment. When you put your vision into words, it becomes more tangible and accessible. This process also creates a reference point you can return to for motivation and course correction. Many high achievers recommend daily or weekly reviews of their vision statements, reinforcing their commitment and maintaining emotional connection. Visualization practices, when paired with a written vision, amplify its effects. Techniques such as guided imagery, vision boards, or journaling about future scenarios deepen your brain's engagement and emotional investment. These exercises tap into the brain's imagination and memory systems, creating a vivid internal experience that strengthens belief and readiness. Over time, this mental rehearsal can improve confidence, reduce anxiety, and enhance performance in real-world situations. The brain's executive functions, the cognitive processes responsible for planning, problem-solving, and self-control, are energized by a strong vision. When your brain knows the destination clearly, it directs resources like attention, memory, and effort more efficiently. This increased cognitive clarity supports disciplined habits and strategic thinking, which are essential for navigating complex challenges and making progress. Vision thus acts as a mental compass, helping you allocate your time and energy wisely. Social neuroscience adds another layer to the understanding of vision. Humans are inherently social creatures, and our brains respond powerfully to the expectations and feedback of others. Sharing your vision with trusted mentors, peers, or communities can provide external validation and encouragement, which enhance commitment. This social aspect of vision creates accountability and fosters collaboration, enabling you to access resources and support that accelerate your journey. Despite its power, vision alone cannot guarantee success without aligned action. The transformation from vision to reality depends on consistent, focused effort. This is why a success blueprint must include actionable goals, small, measurable steps that bridge the gap between the present and your envisioned future. These milestones provide opportunities for feedback and adjustment, keeping you motivated through progress and learning. Fear and doubt often arise when creating and pursuing a vision. The mind instinctively resists change and risks, triggering thoughts that undermine confidence. Understanding this resistance as a natural part of growth allows you to anticipate and manage it. Techniques such as cognitive restructuring, challenging irrational beliefs, and emotional regulation help maintain focus on your vision even when fear tries to derail you. The importance of aligning vision with identity cannot be overstated. Your self-image acts as the lens through which you interpret your capabilities and potential. When your vision conflicts with your current identity, it creates cognitive dissonance, which can cause internal tension and hesitation. By consciously shaping your identity to match your vision, for example, by adopting the mindset and habits of the person you want to become, you reduce this dissonance and create internal harmony. This process of identity shift is essential for sustaining long-term change and activating success mode consistently. The environmental design is another critical component in reinforcing your vision. Your physical surroundings, routines, and social networks can either support or undermine your progress. Intentional changes such as organizing your workspace, setting reminders, limiting negative influences, and cultivating relationships that inspire growth help embed your vision into daily life. These external cues act as constant reinforcements of your internal blueprint, making success mode easier to maintain. In addition, the concept of future self continuity, how connected you feel to your future self, plays a significant role in motivation. People who perceive their future self as a stranger tend to procrastinate and make decisions that favor immediate gratification. Conversely, those with a strong bond to their future self are more likely to engage in behaviors that benefit long-term goals. Developing this connection involves vivid imagination of your future life and empathy for the person you will become, reinforcing the commitment to your vision. Balancing ambition with patience is also essential when designing your success blueprint. Vision can sometimes fuel impatience or unrealistic expectations, leading to frustration and burnout. Understanding that meaningful achievement often requires time, effort, and incremental progress helps you cultivate a mindset of perseverance. This balance allows you to stay motivated without succumbing to pressure or discouragement. Reflection and self-assessment are integral parts of sustaining vision-driven success. Regularly examining your progress, challenges, and adjustments keeps your blueprint relevant and effective. Reflection deepens self-awareness, enabling you to celebrate successes and learn from setbacks without losing momentum. This iterative process transforms your vision from a fixed endpoint into a living guide that evolves with you. The power of vision extends beyond personal achievement, it also impacts how you contribute to others and your broader community. A well-crafted vision often includes elements of service, impact, or legacy, which add profound meaning and fulfillment. When your success blueprint incorporates values that transcend individual gain, it creates a sense of purpose that fuels resilience and joy. This outward orientation enriches the experience of success and sustains motivation through connection and contribution. It is important to recognize that vision is deeply personal and varies widely between individuals. There is no universal formula for what your success blueprint must look like. The only requirement is authenticity and alignment with your unique strengths, passions, and values. Comparing your vision to others can create distraction and doubt. Instead, trust the process of discovery and refinement that leads to your distinct path. In essence, vision is the cornerstone of success mode. It orchestrates your mental, emotional, and behavioral systems toward a coherent and compelling future. By designing a success blueprint that is clear, emotionally charged, specific, flexible, and authentic, you lay the groundwork for all subsequent achievement. This blueprint shapes how you think, feel, decide, and act, transforming abstract hopes into concrete realities. Chapter 3, Motivation Mechanics: Igniting the Inner Drive. Motivation is often misunderstood as a simple spark that lights the fire of action, something spontaneous that appears and disappears without warning. Yet, the truth is far more intricate. Motivation is the engine that drives human behavior, the invisible force behind every decision, effort, and persistence. To activate success mode, understanding the mechanics of motivation, the how and why of the inner drive, is essential. Motivation is not a fleeting emotion but a complex interplay of psychological factors that can be nurtured, cultivated, and strengthened like a muscle. At the heart of motivation lies a dynamic tension between desire and resistance. Desire pulls us toward a goal, while resistance pushes us away through fear, inertia, or doubt. The balance between these forces determines whether we move forward or remain stuck. This tension is governed by both conscious choices and subconscious processes, influenced by our beliefs, emotions, and experiences. Understanding these internal mechanics gives you the power to consciously tip the scales in favor of forward momentum. One foundational distinction in motivation is between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation arises from external rewards, praise, money, status, or avoidance of punishment. It can be powerful in the short term, such as meeting a deadline for a bonus or avoiding criticism. However, extrinsic motivators tend to lose effectiveness over time if they are the sole source of drive, often leading to burnout or diminished satisfaction. Intrinsic motivation, by contrast, originates from within the satisfaction, meaning, or joy derived from the activity itself. It is self-sustaining because it aligns with personal values and passions. For lasting success mode activation, intrinsic motivation is critical. The challenge lies in discovering what internally drives you beyond the external trappings of achievement. This discovery involves deep reflection on your core values, interests, and sense of purpose. What activities or goals evoke a sense of fulfillment regardless of external reward? When you connect with these internal motivators, effort feels less like a chore and more like a meaningful journey. However, intrinsic motivation is not always immediately accessible. Many people live under societal, familial, or cultural pressures that obscure their true desires, substituting them with expectations imposed from outside. Untangling these layers requires courage and honesty, a willingness to explore your authentic self beneath the noise. This process is a form of self-discovery that reveals what genuinely ignites your passion and gives your efforts enduring energy. Once intrinsic motivators are identified, sustaining motivation requires managing how goals are framed and pursued. Psychological research shows that goals emphasizing approach moving toward a desired outcome tend to inspire higher motivation than avoidance goals, which focus on preventing negative outcomes. For example, striving to become healthier is typically more motivating than striving not to be unhealthy. Approach-oriented goals evoke positive emotions and creative problem-solving, while avoidance goals can generate anxiety and narrow thinking. The way you frame your goals and internal dialogue about them impacts the neurochemical balance in your brain. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter linked to pleasure and reward anticipation, surges when you focus on achievable, meaningful goals. This biochemical response creates a cycle of motivation. The brain rewards progress and signals you to continue. However, if goals feel vague, overwhelming, or misaligned with your values, dopamine release diminishes, and motivation wanes. Goal-setting strategies can enhance motivation mechanics by breaking larger aspirations into smaller, manageable steps. These milestones create frequent opportunities for success and positive feedback, sustaining dopamine flow and reinforcing commitment. Celebrating small wins is not just a feel-good exercise but a vital component of the motivational cycle. It builds momentum and reshapes your brain's expectations, making you more resilient against setbacks. Equally important is the role of self-efficacy, the belief in your capability to achieve a specific task. Motivation flourishes when you feel competent and confident, but diminishes when doubt or fear of failure creep in. Building self-efficacy is a gradual process, strengthened by experience, preparation, and reflection on past successes. Mastery experiences, where you overcome challenges through effort and skill, are the most effective way to boost self-efficacy. Positive social feedback and modeling by others can also reinforce belief in your abilities. The relationship between motivation and emotion is complex and bidirectional. Positive emotions like excitement, curiosity, and hope fuel motivation, while motivation can also generate these emotions. Conversely, negative emotions such as anxiety, frustration, or boredom can hinder motivation but, paradoxically, sometimes act as catalysts for change when channeled constructively. Recognizing and managing emotional states is therefore essential for maintaining motivation. One key aspect of emotional regulation is learning to tolerate discomfort. Motivation often requires engaging with tasks that are challenging, repetitive, or outside your comfort zone. The immediate emotional response might be resistance or avoidance, but developing the capacity to endure this discomfort without giving up transforms motivation from a fragile spark into a steady flame. This skill is often overlooked yet distinguishes those who sustain success mode from those who falter. Motivation is also influenced by autonomy, the degree to which you feel control over your actions and decisions. Autonomy enhances intrinsic motivation by aligning behavior with personal choice rather than external compulsion. Conversely, when you feel pressured, micromanaged, or coerced, motivation suffers. Creating an environment where you can exercise choice and agency empowers you to sustain effort and innovation. Interpersonal relationships play a significant role in motivation. Humans are social beings, wired for connection and influenced by social cues and feedback. Supportive relationships can nurture motivation by providing encouragement, accountability, and shared purpose. Conversely, toxic or unsupportive environments can drain motivation and increase stress. Cultivating a network of allies who believe in your vision and challenge you to grow is a strategic way to enhance your motivational resources. The concept of purpose acts as a higher-order motivator that integrates and transcends daily goals. Purpose gives your efforts a broader context, imbuing even mundane tasks with meaning. When you perceive your work as part of a larger mission, whether it is to help others, create something lasting, or leave a legacy, your motivation becomes more resilient to obstacles and fatigue. Purpose-driven motivation connects you to something bigger than yourself, offering deep emotional and psychological sustenance. Another critical factor is the rhythm of motivation, which naturally fluctuates. Motivation is not a constant state but waxes and wanes depending on physical energy, mood, external circumstances, and progress toward goals. Understanding this rhythm helps you optimize effort by aligning demanding tasks with peak motivation periods and allowing rest during lows. This cyclical perspective prevents discouragement and promotes sustainable productivity. The motivational cycle also involves phases of preparation, action, and recovery. Preparation includes goal setting, planning, and mental rehearsal. Action is the execution phase where energy and focus are directed toward tasks. Recovery is equally important, allowing mental and physical restoration. Skipping recovery leads to burnout, diminishing motivation in the long term. Incorporating intentional rest, reflection, and celebration into your routine maintains motivation's vitality. Intrinsic motivation thrives in environments that satisfy basic psychological needs identified in self-determination theory: competence, autonomy, and relatedness. Competence is the need to feel effective and capable. Autonomy is the need to feel volitional and self-directed. Relatedness is the need to feel connected and valued by others. When these needs are met, motivation flourishes. When thwarted, motivation declines. This theory underscores that motivation is embedded not only in internal drives but also in social and environmental contexts. One practical way to boost motivation is through habit formation. Habits automate behavior, reducing the cognitive load required to initiate action. Once a habit is established, motivation no longer depends solely on willpower or mood, making success mode more accessible. The key is to create habits that align with your goals and to design cues and rewards that reinforce these behaviors. Starting with small, achievable habits and gradually building complexity makes habit formation sustainable. Motivation also depends on how you interpret setbacks and failures. Viewing obstacles as opportunities for learning rather than proof of inadequacy maintains motivation and fosters a growth mindset. This reframing requires conscious effort but changes the narrative from defeat to development. Resilience, the capacity to bounce back from adversity, is deeply tied to this perspective and is a cornerstone of sustained motivation. The relationship between motivation and identity is profound. When you see yourself as the kind of person who pursues goals with determination, you activate a self-sustaining motivational loop. Your behaviors reinforce your identity, and your identity motivates your behaviors. This reciprocal process means that shaping your identity through affirmations, actions, and social roles can dramatically enhance motivation. Moreover, motivation can be intentionally influenced by the stories you tell yourself. The narratives you create about who you are, what you value, and what you are capable of act as mental scripts guiding behavior. Positive, empowering narratives fuel motivation by fostering hope and self-belief. Negative or limiting stories, by contrast, sap energy and cause hesitation. Rewriting your internal story is a powerful intervention to ignite inner drive. In addition to personal strategies, external tools can support motivation. These include accountability systems, such as mentors, coaches, or peer groups, technology, like apps that track progress and set reminders, and environmental modifications, such as decluttering your workspace or creating dedicated zones for work and rest. These external supports scaffold your motivation, making it easier to maintain consistency and direction. No single technique or insight creates permanent motivation, rather, it is the cumulative effect of understanding your internal drives, shaping your environment, managing emotions, and aligning your actions with your identity and purpose. Mastery of motivation mechanics transforms you from a passive reactor to an active creator of your success mode. As you move forward, recognize motivation as a skill you can develop and a system you can optimize. By nurturing intrinsic drives, framing goals positively, managing emotions, building supportive habits, and aligning your identity with your vision, you ignite a powerful inner drive that propels you through challenges and toward your greatest potential. This activation of motivation mechanics is a vital gear in the complex machinery of success mode. The ignition of this inner drive marks a turning point, a shift from wishing for success to actively creating it. It is a force that sustains you on the journey, fuels your resilience, and colors every step with purpose. Motivation is the engine, and you hold the keys. Harness it wisely, and you will find that success mode is not just a fleeting state but a persistent way of life. Chapter 4: Breaking Mental Barriers, Overcoming Limiting Beliefs. In the journey toward activating success mode, the invisible yet powerful obstacles that reside within the mind often prove to be the greatest challenge. These obstacles are not external circumstances, skills, or resources, but deeply ingrained mental barriers known as limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are the invisible walls built by our own thoughts, assumptions, and past experiences, constraining our potential and distorting reality. They are the silent saboteurs that whisper doubt, insecurity, and fear at every step forward. To truly step into success mode, one must first dismantle these mental barriers with clarity, courage, and strategy. Limiting beliefs often originate from early life experiences, messages absorbed from parents, teachers, peers, or society. They become mental scripts that shape how you see yourself, your abilities, and what is possible. For example, a belief like "I'm not smart enough" or "success is only for other people" becomes an internal truth, regardless of whether it reflects reality. These beliefs are deeply embedded because they serve a psychological purpose. They protect you from perceived failure, rejection, or disappointment. While this protective function may have helped you cope in the past, it now confines your growth and success. One reason limiting beliefs are so powerful is their subtlety. They often operate below conscious awareness, shaping decisions and behaviors without explicit recognition. This invisibility makes them difficult to confront and change. You might find yourself repeatedly procrastinating, avoiding challenges, or self-sabotaging without understanding the root cause. These patterns are frequently the outcome of limiting beliefs acting behind the scenes. The first step to overcoming these barriers is awareness, bringing them into the light of conscious thought. This requires honest and often uncomfortable self-reflection. Ask yourself, what beliefs do I hold about my worth, abilities, and potential? Where do these beliefs come from? How do they influence my choices and actions? Journaling, mindfulness, and therapy are powerful tools to uncover these hidden convictions. Once identified, limiting beliefs lose some of their unconscious control over your behavior. After identifying a limiting belief, the next challenge is to question its validity. Limiting beliefs tend to be absolute and rigid statements like "I can never do this" or "I'm just not good enough." These absolutes rarely withstand scrutiny. By examining evidence from your own life, you can challenge these beliefs. For instance, if you believe "I always fail," recall specific moments when you succeeded or made progress. This process, known as cognitive restructuring, helps create mental flexibility by replacing inaccurate beliefs with more balanced, evidence-based thoughts. Reframing is another powerful tool. Instead of seeing limitations as permanent truths, reframe them as temporary challenges or learning opportunities. For example, shift "I'm not good at public speaking" to "I haven't mastered public speaking yet, but I can improve with practice." This subtle linguistic change opens the door to growth and reduces fear. The brain is wired to respond differently to language that implies potential rather than finality. Neuroscience offers hopeful insights here. The brain's neuroplasticity, the ability to change and form new neural connections throughout life, means that mental patterns are not fixed. Limiting beliefs are neural pathways created by repetition. By consciously practicing new, empowering beliefs and behaviors, you can rewire your brain, creating new pathways that support success. This process requires persistence, as old pathways tend to resurface, but over time, the new patterns strengthen and become the dominant mode of thinking. Visualization techniques also assist in breaking mental barriers. Imagine yourself acting as the confident, capable person you aspire to be, performing successfully despite doubts. Visualization activates brain regions associated with real experience, making new mental scripts more familiar and accessible. Repeatedly envisioning yourself overcoming obstacles builds neural resilience against limiting beliefs. Sometimes, limiting beliefs manifest as an internal voice or narrative that criticizes, judges, or fears failure. This inner critic can be relentless, undermining confidence and motivation. Developing the skill to observe this voice without judgment, what mindfulness teaches, creates a gap between thought and self. You realize that these thoughts are not facts but mental events that can be challenged and changed. Compassionate self-talk becomes a counterbalance, replacing harsh criticism with encouragement and patience. Social and environmental influences reinforce limiting beliefs. Negative feedback, unsupportive relationships, and toxic environments create echo chambers that validate doubts and fears. Breaking free often means seeking out new influences, mentors, peers, communities that model growth, possibility, and resilience. Surrounding yourself with people who challenge limiting beliefs through encouragement, constructive feedback, and shared values accelerates the dismantling process. Behavioral experiments provide concrete evidence against limiting beliefs. If you believe you cannot succeed in a particular domain, test this by taking small, calculated steps toward your goal. For example, if you think I'm terrible at networking, start by attending a small event and initiating a brief conversation. Observe the outcome without preconceived judgment. These experiences help rewrite mental scripts through real-world evidence, gradually eroding limiting beliefs. It is important to recognize the emotional weight that limiting beliefs carry. Fear of failure, rejection, or disappointment can feel overwhelming and paralyzing. Rather than attempting to suppress these emotions, acknowledge and accept them as natural human experiences. Emotional acceptance reduces their intensity and prevents them from controlling your actions. Combining emotional awareness with cognitive restructuring creates a balanced approach to overcoming mental barriers. Resilience is a companion to breaking limiting beliefs. Persistence in the face of setbacks, openness to feedback, and willingness to adapt are essential traits that grow as you challenge your mental constraints. Each time you confront and overcome a limiting belief, your confidence and psychological flexibility increase, making future challenges easier to face. Many limiting beliefs relate to identity, the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you are capable of. Changing beliefs about your identity is one of the most profound ways to break mental barriers. When you adopt a growth-oriented identity, I am a learner, I am resilient, you create a foundation for new behaviors and attitudes that align with success mode. This identity shift often requires deliberate practices such as affirmations, visualization, and role modeling. The journey to break mental barriers is not linear. Old beliefs may resurface during stress, fatigue, or challenges. This is normal and not a sign of failure. Developing awareness and strategies to respond to these moments keeps you on the path. Techniques like deep breathing, journaling, and seeking support help maintain momentum and prevent relapse into limiting patterns. Accountability partners or coaches can accelerate progress. They provide external perspective, challenge unhelpful beliefs, and hold you responsible for taking action. This social dimension reinforces your commitment and provides encouragement during difficult times. Breaking mental barriers is transformative because it shifts the locus of control inward. Rather than feeling victim to circumstances or fixed traits, you reclaim your power to choose thoughts, beliefs, and actions that support growth. This empowerment ignites the activation of success mode by removing the internal obstacles that block potential. It is also crucial to develop curiosity about your mental patterns. Instead of reacting with fear or frustration to limiting beliefs, approach them as puzzles to solve. Why do you believe this? How did it form? What purpose did it serve? This curious stance fosters self-compassion and reduces resistance, making change more sustainable. In addition, embracing uncertainty is key. Limiting beliefs often stem from a desire for certainty and control. Success mode requires comfort with ambiguity, risk, and experimentation. Viewing uncertainty as a natural part of growth opens you to new possibilities and diminishes the power of limiting beliefs rooted in fear. The intersection of limiting beliefs and procrastination reveals how mental barriers stall action. Fear of failure or inadequacy leads to delay and avoidance. Understanding this link allows you to address root causes rather than just symptoms. Taking imperfect action breaks the cycle, providing evidence that challenges limiting beliefs and builds confidence. Chapter 5, The Habit Factory: Building Success-Driving Routines. There is a subtle power in the routines that shape our days, small actions that, when repeated consistently, compound into the fabric of our lives. Habits are the invisible architecture of success. They operate beneath conscious thought, conserving mental energy by automating behavior. Yet, habits are often overlooked or underestimated in their role in activating success mode. Understanding how habits form, why they persist, and how to intentionally create ones that propel you forward can transform your journey from a series of struggles into a flow of progress. The human brain is wired to seek efficiency. It craves to reduce effort where possible, which is why habits are nature's shortcut to productivity. When a behavior becomes a habit, it requires less conscious thought and willpower, freeing up cognitive resources for other challenges. This automation is a double-edged sword. Good habits can accelerate growth effortlessly, but negative habits can quietly erode potential. Recognizing this dual nature is the first step to harnessing habits as your allies. Habits follow a three-part neurological loop: cue, routine, and reward. The cue is a trigger, something in your environment or your internal state that signals the brain to initiate a behavior. The routine is the behavior itself, and the reward is the positive reinforcement that tells your brain this behavior is worth remembering. Over time, this loop becomes ingrained, making the habit automatic. Understanding and manipulating this loop allows you to create new habits and replace old, unproductive ones. One of the most effective ways to build a new habit is to start with a small, specific behavior that feels easy and achievable. This approach leverages the brain's preference for immediate and manageable tasks. For example, if you want to build a habit of exercise, starting with 5 minutes a day is more sustainable than setting a goal to run 5 miles immediately. This small success creates a sense of accomplishment, triggering dopamine release and encouraging continuation. Consistency is more important than intensity in habit formation. Repeating the same small action regularly strengthens neural pathways until the behavior becomes ingrained. Missing occasional days is normal and does not derail progress as long as you return to the habit quickly. This mindset reduces perfectionism and guilt, which often sabotage efforts. Linking new habits to existing routines, known as habit stacking, is a powerful strategy. For instance, if you want to develop a habit of journaling, you might decide to do it immediately after brushing your teeth each morning. The existing habit acts as a cue, making it easier for the new behavior to take hold. This chaining creates a rhythm in your day that supports momentum and reduces decision fatigue. Rewards are crucial for reinforcing habits, but they do not have to be grand or external. The reward can be intrinsic, such as a sense of pride, relaxation, or clarity. However, especially in the early stages, pairing habits with immediate, tangible rewards can accelerate learning. For example, allowing yourself to listen to your favorite podcast only while exercising creates a positive association. Over time, the internal satisfaction of the routine becomes the reward itself. Breaking a bad habit involves understanding its cue and reward as well. By identifying what triggers the unwanted behavior and what it provides, you can experiment with replacing the routine with a healthier alternative that delivers a similar reward. For instance, if stress triggers mindless snacking for comfort, you might replace the snack with a short walk or deep breathing exercises that also relieve tension. The environment plays a significant role in habit development. Altering your surroundings to reduce exposure to cues that trigger negative habits and increasing cues for positive ones simplifies behavior change. This might involve keeping unhealthy foods out of reach, setting reminders for tasks, or organizing your workspace to encourage focus. Small changes in context can have outsized effects on habit adherence. Willpower, often seen as the key to change, is a limited resource that can be depleted. This is why relying solely on willpower to start or maintain habits is inefficient. Instead, designing systems and environments that support habits reduces reliance on willpower and makes behavior automatic. This shift from reliance on effort to reliance on structure is foundational for sustained success mode. Habits also interact with identity and self-perception. When a behavior aligns with how you see yourself, it feels more natural and motivated. Conversely, if a habit conflicts with your identity, it feels forced and unsustainable. For example, a person who identifies as a healthy eater finds it easier to maintain nutritious habits than someone who views themselves as indifferent to diet. Shaping your identity through affirmations and self-reflection can reinforce habit formation by creating internal congruence. It is essential to recognize that habit formation is not purely mechanical. Emotions and mindset influence how habits take root. Negative emotions like stress or boredom can derail routines, while positive emotions support them. Building habits that connect with positive emotional experiences increases the likelihood of adherence. For example, exercising with friends can transform a solitary task into a joyful social event, strengthening habit sustainability. Tracking progress provides external feedback that boosts motivation and accountability. Journals, apps, or simple checklists create a visual record of consistency that reinforces commitment. This feedback loop leverages the brain's reward system by providing tangible evidence of success. Additionally, seeing progress can inspire reflection and adjustment, optimizing your habit strategy. Plateaus and setbacks are natural in habit development. Initial enthusiasm may wane, and life circumstances may disrupt routines. Preparing mentally for these fluctuations by viewing them as normal prevents discouragement. Strategies like re-engagement plans, support networks, and flexibility in routines enable you to bounce back quickly, maintaining momentum toward your goals. Some habits have compounding effects, creating synergy that accelerates progress. For example, improved sleep habits can increase energy and focus, which in turn support better nutrition and exercise habits. Identifying and nurturing these keystone habits behaviors that trigger positive change across multiple areas can make habit transformation more efficient. Mindfulness enhances habit awareness, enabling you to catch automatic behaviors and decide whether they serve your goals. This conscious awareness opens space for intentional choice rather than unconscious repetition. Practicing mindfulness during routines transforms habits from mindless drudgery into purposeful actions aligned with your success blueprint. It is also beneficial to incorporate variety and novelty into habits to sustain interest and engagement. Monotony can lead to boredom and eventual abandonment. Introducing new elements, challenges, or rewards keeps habits fresh and enjoyable without sacrificing consistency. Accountability is a powerful motivator in habit formation. Sharing your goals and progress with others creates social pressure and support that encourage persistence. Joining groups, partnering with accountability buddies, or working with coaches adds external structure that complements internal motivation. The relationship between habits and goals is symbiotic. Goals provide direction and aspiration, while habits create the daily actions that realize those goals. Without habits, goals remain abstract and unattainable. Without goals, habits lack purpose and meaning. Designing your routines to directly support your goals ensures that your efforts are aligned and effective. Chapter 6, Emotional Intelligence: Mastering Your Inner World. The path to success is not paved solely with strategies, skills, or sheer willpower. Behind every achievement lies a landscape rich with emotions, complex, nuanced, and often misunderstood. Emotional intelligence, the ability to perceive, understand, manage, and harness emotions in ourselves and others, is a cornerstone of lasting success. It is the mastery of this inner world that enables individuals to navigate challenges, build meaningful relationships, and sustain motivation over time. Emotional intelligence is not an innate gift reserved for a select few, it is a skill that can be cultivated and refined, unlocking a powerful dimension of success mode. Emotions serve a vital purpose in our psychological ecosystem. They are signals, guiding attention, shaping decisions, and motivating behavior. Yet, emotions can be double-edged swords capable of both propelling us forward and pulling us back. The key is learning to harness emotions constructively rather than being overwhelmed or controlled by them. This mastery begins with emotional awareness, the ability to recognize and accurately identify your feelings in the moment. Without awareness, emotions simmer below the surface, influencing actions without conscious input, often leading to impulsive reactions or internal conflict. Developing emotional awareness requires mindfulness and reflection. It is the practice of tuning into bodily sensations, thoughts, and feelings without judgment. For example, noticing tension in the shoulders might signal stress or anxiety. Labeling this experience "I feel anxious about the upcoming presentation" brings clarity and creates a psychological space to respond rather than react. This gap between stimulus and response is where emotional intelligence flourishes. It transforms automatic, habitual reactions into thoughtful, intentional choices aligned with your goals. Understanding the origins of emotions deepens this awareness. Emotions often arise from our interpretations of events rather than the events themselves. Two people can experience the same situation and respond with vastly different emotions based on their beliefs, past experiences, and expectations. Recognizing this subjective nature of emotion allows you to question and reframe your emotional responses. For instance, frustration at a setback can be seen as a signal to reassess your approach rather than a personal failure. This reframing reduces emotional distress and fosters resilience. Emotional regulation is the next critical step, managing your emotional states to maintain balance and effectiveness. Regulation does not mean suppressing emotions but rather modulating their intensity and expression to suit the context. Techniques such as deep breathing, cognitive reappraisal, and grounding exercises help soothe intense emotions and prevent them from clouding judgment or impairing performance. Emotional regulation supports sustained focus and calm under pressure, essential traits for success mode. Self-motivation, an element of emotional intelligence, involves channeling emotions to drive persistence and creativity. Passion, optimism, and hope fuel energy and innovation, while managing frustration and disappointment prevents discouragement. Intrinsic motivation, connected to positive emotions about your purpose, sustains effort even when external rewards are absent. Cultivating positive emotional states through gratitude, visualization, and celebrating progress enhances this internal drive. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, expands emotional intelligence beyond the self. It underpins effective communication, collaboration, and leadership. By attuning to others' emotions, you can navigate social dynamics, resolve conflicts, and build trust. Empathy involves active listening, observing nonverbal cues, and suspending judgment. These skills create connections that facilitate support networks essential for success. Social skills, another pillar of emotional intelligence, encompass how you manage relationships and influence others. Effective communication, conflict resolution, and teamwork require emotional attunement and adaptability. Navigating complex interpersonal environments with emotional intelligence enhances cooperation and opens opportunities. Leaders with high emotional intelligence inspire and motivate by connecting authentically with their teams. Emotional intelligence develops through intentional practice and experience. Reflecting on emotional triggers, responses, and outcomes fosters insight. Seeking feedback from trusted peers or mentors provides external perspective and accountability. Training programs, coaching, and mindfulness practices offer structured ways to build these skills. Like any skill, consistent effort leads to growth and integration into daily life. One challenge in cultivating emotional intelligence is cultural and social conditioning that discourages emotional expression or awareness, especially in professional settings. Overcoming these norms requires courage and reframing emotions as strengths rather than vulnerabilities. Emotionally intelligent individuals model authenticity and emotional balance, creating cultures that value psychological safety and well-being. The brain's neuroplasticity supports the development of emotional intelligence. Repeated practice of emotional awareness and regulation strengthens neural pathways associated with executive control and social cognition. This biological foundation means emotional intelligence is not fixed but can expand across the lifespan, enhancing adaptability and well-being. Emotional intelligence also buffers stress and burnout. By recognizing early signs of emotional exhaustion and implementing coping strategies, you sustain energy and engagement. Techniques such as mindfulness meditation, physical activity, and social support replenish emotional reserves. This self-care is essential for maintaining success mode in high-demand environments. The integration of emotional intelligence with cognitive abilities creates holistic decision-making. Emotions provide valuable information about priorities and values, while rational analysis evaluates options and consequences. Balancing these aspects leads to wiser, more authentic choices that align with long-term goals. Ignoring emotions or relying solely on logic can lead to decisions that feel disconnected or unsustainable. Developing emotional intelligence enhances creativity and problem-solving. Emotional openness fosters curiosity and willingness to take risks. It allows you to embrace ambiguity and complexity, essential for innovation. Emotional resilience encourages persistence through failures, viewing setbacks as learning opportunities rather than defeat. Emotional intelligence influences physical health through stress regulation and lifestyle choices. Chronic emotional distress impairs immune function, sleep, and cardiovascular health. Conversely, emotional balance promotes habits that support vitality, such as regular exercise, nutritious diet, and restful sleep. This mind-body connection reinforces the sustainability of success mode. In interpersonal relationships, emotional intelligence fosters deeper connection and mutual growth. By validating others' experiences and expressing your own emotions clearly, you build trust and intimacy. This emotional foundation supports collaboration, conflict resolution, and shared vision, amplifying collective success. In professional settings, emotional intelligence contributes to leadership effectiveness. Leaders who manage their emotions and understand their team's emotional dynamics create environments of engagement and innovation. They navigate change with empathy and resilience, inspiring loyalty and commitment. These qualities differentiate leaders who sustain success mode from those who rely solely on technical skills. Emotional intelligence is especially crucial during transitions and uncertainty. Change often triggers fear and resistance. Emotionally intelligent individuals acknowledge these feelings and adapt by reframing change as opportunity. They support themselves and others through emotional fluctuations, maintaining clarity and focus. Building emotional intelligence also involves ethical awareness and empathy towards broader social issues. Understanding the impact of your emotions and actions on communities fosters responsibility and purpose. This awareness aligns with higher levels of success that include contribution and legacy beyond personal achievement. This chapter encourages you to embark on a journey inward, exploring the depths of your emotional landscape with curiosity and compassion. Mastering emotional intelligence transforms challenges into opportunities, deepens relationships, and fuels sustained motivation. It is the art and science of mastering your inner world, the foundation upon which success mode thrives. By cultivating emotional awareness, regulation, empathy, and social skills, you create a resilient, adaptable, and connected self. This mastery not only enhances personal fulfillment but also empowers you to lead, inspire, and innovate. Emotional intelligence is not a luxury but a necessity for those who seek enduring success and meaningful growth. Chapter 7, Resilience Reset: Thriving Through Adversity. In the journey toward activating success mode, resilience emerges as one of the most indispensable qualities. Resilience is often romanticized as an innate superpower possessed only by a few heroic individuals. Yet, the truth is far more empowering. Resilience is a dynamic capacity that anyone can cultivate. It is the mental and emotional fortitude that allows you to face setbacks, failures, and obstacles not merely to endure them but to emerge stronger, wiser, and more determined. This chapter explores the multifaceted nature of resilience, illuminating the science behind it and the practical strategies to reset and thrive amid adversity. Adversity is a universal part of the human experience. No path to success is linear or free from challenges. Whether these are external hardships, financial strain, loss, rejection, or internal struggles such as self-doubt and anxiety, the way you respond to adversity shapes your trajectory. Resilience is not about avoiding pain or hardship but about cultivating the ability to respond constructively. It transforms stumbling blocks into stepping stones, reframing obstacles as opportunities for growth. At the neurological level, resilience involves the brain's capacity to regulate stress responses. The body's reaction to stress activates the sympathetic nervous system, releasing hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. While acute stress prepares the body for immediate action, chronic or overwhelming stress can impair cognitive function and emotional regulation. Resilient individuals have a finely tuned ability to return their nervous system to balance after stress. This is sometimes called stress recovery. Practices that support this balance, such as deep breathing, mindfulness, and physical exercise, lay the foundation for resilience. Psychologically, resilience is rooted in a set of attitudes and beliefs. One core component is optimism, the belief that challenges are temporary and surmountable. Optimism is not naive positivity but a realistic and hopeful outlook that perceives difficulties as manageable rather than insurmountable. This mindset fuels persistence and reduces the psychological toll of setbacks. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and similar approaches help cultivate optimism by challenging negative thought patterns and reinforcing adaptive beliefs. A related quality is emotional agility, the capacity to experience a full range of emotions without being overwhelmed or stuck in them. Resilient people do not suppress difficult emotions, they acknowledge and process them, then redirect their energy toward constructive action. This emotional flexibility allows for quick recovery and prevents prolonged rumination that can deepen distress. Developing emotional agility requires mindfulness and self-compassion, practices that enable you to observe emotions without judgment and respond with kindness. Purpose and meaning act as powerful anchors for resilience. When adversity threatens to destabilize you, a strong sense of why you are pursuing your goals provides motivation to persevere. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, emphasized this in his work, highlighting that finding meaning even in suffering empowers individuals to endure extreme hardship. Connecting your struggles to a broader purpose transforms challenges from random misfortune into meaningful chapters of your growth story. Social support is another critical pillar. Humans are wired for connection, and relationships provide emotional, informational, and practical resources that buffer stress. Resilient individuals actively cultivate supportive networks and are willing to seek help when needed. Sharing vulnerability with trusted others normalizes difficulties and fosters mutual strength. Conversely, isolation exacerbates stress and undermines coping. Problem-solving skills and flexibility contribute to resilience by enabling you to navigate complex situations creatively. When confronted with a challenge, resilient people engage in active problem solving, breaking down problems, generating options, and experimenting with solutions rather than succumbing to helplessness. This proactive approach increases a sense of control, which mitigates stress and enhances efficacy. Resilience is also built through experiences of overcoming adversity. Each challenge faced and managed expands your confidence and coping repertoire. These mastery experiences create a psychological reservoir that you can draw upon during future difficulties. Viewing past successes in managing hardship as evidence of your strength fuels resilience. Physical health is inseparable from resilience. Chronic illness, fatigue, or poor nutrition weaken the body's stress response and mental stamina. Prioritizing sleep, movement, and nutrition enhances your physical resilience, which in turn supports psychological endurance. The mind and body are interdependent systems, nurturing one strengthens the other. Creating rituals and routines that foster stability amid chaos anchors resilience. Regular practices such as meditation, journaling, or exercise provide a predictable framework that calms the nervous system and cultivates mental clarity. These habits act as touchstones during turbulent times, helping you maintain a sense of agency. The stories you tell yourself about adversity influence resilience profoundly. Narratives that frame challenges as growth opportunities and emphasize personal agency cultivate resilience. Conversely, victim narratives that emphasize helplessness and blame undermine it. Shaping your personal story to acknowledge struggle but highlight strength transforms your experience and outlook. Accepting uncertainty and impermanence is also a hallmark of resilience. Life's unpredictability means that control is always partial. Resilient individuals develop comfort with ambiguity and adapt to changing circumstances without losing hope or direction. This acceptance reduces anxiety and opens space for creative solutions. Gratitude practices enhance resilience by shifting focus from what is lost or threatening to what remains positive and available. This positive emotional bias supports psychological well-being and buffers against despair. Even small daily acknowledgments of gratitude cultivate an inner landscape conducive to resilience. Resilience is not about solitary endurance but also about interdependence. Recognizing when to ask for help and collaborating with others is a strength, not a weakness. This collaborative resilience expands resources and perspectives, making challenges more manageable. Leadership resilience is a specialized form that involves managing not only your own stress but also supporting and inspiring others through difficulty. Leaders who demonstrate calm, optimism, and empathy foster resilient cultures that thrive under pressure. Developing leadership resilience requires self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and communication skills. Technology and mindfulness tools can aid resilience building. Apps for meditation, mood tracking, and biofeedback provide accessible means to monitor and regulate stress. However, tools are complements, not substitutes for deliberate internal work and social connection. Cultural narratives shape how resilience is understood and expressed. Some cultures emphasize endurance and stoicism, while others prioritize emotional expression and communal support. Understanding your cultural context and integrating its strengths with personal strategies creates a tailored resilience approach. Resilience is a lifelong practice, not a static trait. Life will continuously present new challenges and losses. Each phase of life brings different stressors and demands. Viewing resilience as an evolving capacity invites ongoing learning, adaptation, and renewal. It is vital to recognize that moments of vulnerability and struggle are not signs of failure but integral parts of resilience. Allowing yourself to experience hardship authentically, rather than denying or avoiding it, facilitates healing and growth. This authenticity deepens resilience by integrating emotional depth with strength. Resilience resets happen when you intentionally pause, reflect, and recalibrate your mindset and strategies. These resets may be triggered by setbacks, exhaustion, or a conscious desire for growth. They involve reassessing goals, renewing purpose, and strengthening coping mechanisms. Scheduled resets prevent burnout and keep success mode sustainable. In practical terms, building resilience involves daily choices, engaging in self-care, nurturing relationships, practicing optimism, managing emotions, and maintaining flexibility. These choices accumulate, creating a resilient foundation that supports sustained achievement. This chapter invites you to embrace adversity as a catalyst for transformation. Through cultivating optimism, emotional agility, purpose, social support, problem-solving skills, and physical health, you develop a resilience that propels you beyond mere survival to thriving. Resilience is the reset button that allows you to recover, learn, and advance on your path. As you integrate these principles into your life, you activate a profound source of strength that sustains success mode. You become not only a survivor of challenges but a creator of opportunity amid uncertainty. This mastery of resilience is a defining feature of those who achieve extraordinary and lasting success. Chapter 8, Focus Formula: Cultivating Deep Work and Concentration. In a world dominated by constant noise, distractions, and interruptions, the ability to focus deeply stands as a rare and invaluable skill. Focus is not merely the act of looking at something or listening, it is the deliberate allocation of attention toward a specific task, undeterred by external stimuli or internal wanderings. Cultivating deep work and concentration is the linchpin of activating success mode, for without sustained attention, progress becomes fragmented, creativity stifled, and productivity diluted. This chapter explores the psychology and neuroscience of focus, unraveling how to design your mental and physical environment, manage attention, and harness concentration to elevate your performance and fulfillment. The human brain's attentional system is remarkably powerful but inherently limited. Attention functions like a spotlight, illuminating selected information for processing while filtering out the rest. However, this spotlight can only cover a narrow area at a time, requiring choices about what to prioritize. The constant barrage of information in modern life, from smartphones, social media, emails, and multitasking, pulls the spotlight in multiple directions, resulting in scattered attention and reduced cognitive capacity. Understanding this limitation is the first step toward reclaiming focus. Deep work, a term popularized by Cal Newport, refers to professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push cognitive capabilities to their limit. This state allows for the creation of new value, improvement of skills, and the production of high-quality work. Deep work contrasts sharply with shallow work tasks that are logistical, repetitive, or performed while distracted. Success mode is activated when you maximize time in deep work states, allowing breakthroughs and mastery to emerge. The neuroscience of focus reveals that it involves coordinated activity between several brain regions, including the prefrontal cortex, which governs executive functions such as planning, decision-making, and inhibition of distractions. This area consumes significant metabolic energy, explaining why sustained focus is mentally exhausting. Attention is also modulated by neurotransmitters like dopamine and norepinephrine, which regulate alertness and motivation. Strategies that optimize these neurochemical systems enhance your ability to concentrate. One powerful technique to cultivate focus is time blocking, allocating dedicated, uninterrupted periods for specific tasks. By scheduling chunks of time for deep work, you create protected zones where attention can be fully directed. This approach reduces the cognitive load of task switching and decision-making about what to work on next. Consistency in time blocking trains your brain to expect and prepare for focused work, increasing effectiveness. Managing external distractions is critical. Environmental cues such as noise, visual clutter, or notifications compete for your attention. Designing a workspace that minimizes these disruptions, whether through physical organization, soundproofing, or digital detox measures, sets the stage for concentration. Simple actions like silencing phones, closing unnecessary tabs, and using focus-enhancing apps create boundaries that support deep work. Equally important is managing internal distractions, wandering thoughts, worries, and impulses that pull attention away from the task. Mindfulness meditation trains the mind to observe these distractions without judgment and gently return focus to the present moment. Regular mindfulness practice increases attentional control and reduces susceptibility to distraction, making it a foundational skill for cultivating deep focus. The Pomodoro technique exemplifies a structured method to balance intense focus with restorative breaks. It involves working for 25-minute intervals followed by short breaks, helping maintain mental stamina and prevent fatigue. Longer breaks after several cycles allow for recovery and cognitive consolidation. Experimenting with interval lengths tailored to your natural attention span can optimize productivity. Monotasking, doing one thing at a time, is a cornerstone of deep work. Although multitasking is often glorified, research shows it reduces efficiency and increases errors. By committing fully to a single task, you deepen engagement and improve quality. This requires resisting cultural pressures to be constantly on and available, embracing periods of intentional withdrawal from multitasking demands. Goal clarity enhances focus by providing direction and motivation. When you know precisely what you intend to achieve during a work session, your attention narrows naturally to relevant stimuli. Setting micro-goals within larger projects creates a roadmap that sustains momentum and prevents overwhelm. This clarity allows your brain to filter out distractions that do not serve your immediate objectives. Energy management underpins sustained concentration. Physical factors such as sleep quality, nutrition, hydration, and exercise significantly impact cognitive function. Fatigue and hunger impair attention and decision-making, making it harder to enter deep work states. Prioritizing physical well-being is thus integral to cultivating focus. Emotional states influence attention as well. Stress and anxiety narrow attentional scope, often leading to hyperfocus on worries and diminished capacity for creative thinking. Conversely, positive emotions broaden cognitive flexibility and open awareness. Strategies to regulate emotions, such as breathing exercises, gratitude practices, or breaks in nature, help maintain a mental state conducive to focus. Flow, a psychological state described by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, represents the pinnacle of focus, complete immersion and effortless involvement in an activity. Achieving flow requires a balance between challenge and skill level, clear goals, and immediate feedback. Designing tasks and environments that facilitate flow enhances productivity and enjoyment, making work feel both meaningful and energizing. Technology is a double-edged sword in the focus landscape. While it offers tools to support concentration and task management, it also delivers endless distractions. Developing digital hygiene habits such as setting device-free periods, customizing notifications, and using focus apps helps leverage technology without succumbing to its pitfalls. The social environment influences attention. Communicating boundaries around focused work times to colleagues, friends, and family creates shared understanding and respect for your concentration needs. This social negotiation is vital in maintaining uninterrupted periods for deep work, especially in collaborative or open office settings. Attention residue, the lingering focus on a previous task when switching to another, impairs cognitive performance. Minimizing task switching and batching similar tasks reduces this residue. For instance, scheduling all email responses in one session prevents fragmentation of focus throughout the day. Mental models and habits also shape how easily you enter focused states. Cultivating a growth mindset fosters perseverance through challenging tasks, reducing the temptation to avoid focus-intensive work. Building rituals that signal the start of deep work, such as a brief meditation, a specific playlist, or a cup of tea, condition your brain to shift into concentration mode. Reflection on your attention patterns offers insights for improvement. Journaling about when you experience peak focus, what distracts you, and how you recover informs personalized strategies. This self-awareness turns focus cultivation into a deliberate practice rather than a hit-or-miss effort. Creativity and problem-solving flourish with focused attention but also require breaks for incubation and perspective shifts. Balancing deep work with periods of rest and leisure nurtures holistic cognitive function. These cycles of intense focus and relaxation optimize performance and prevent burnout. Chapter 9, Growth Mindset Activation, Rewiring for Lifelong Learning. In the pursuit of success, how you view your abilities and potential plays a decisive role in shaping your outcomes. The concept of mindset, particularly the growth mindset, revolutionized how we understand personal development and achievement. A growth mindset is the belief that intelligence, talents, and skills can be developed through dedication, effort, and learning, as opposed to being fixed traits you are born with. Activating this mindset ignites a mental transformation, rewiring your brain and behavior to embrace challenges, persist through setbacks, and continuously evolve. This chapter unpacks the profound psychological mechanisms behind growth mindset and offers a comprehensive roadmap to embed it deeply into your life, fueling your activation of success mode. The fixed mindset, by contrast, sees abilities as static and unchangeable. People with this mindset often avoid challenges, give up easily, and feel threatened by others' success. Their focus centers on proving themselves rather than improving, making failure a verdict on their worth. This constrains learning and growth, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy where perceived limitations become reality. Recognizing and overcoming fixed mindset patterns is crucial because they silently erode potential and halt progress. The science behind growth mindset draws from decades of psychological research, including the pioneering work of Carol Dweck. Neuroscientific studies reveal that the brain is plastic, meaning it changes in response to experience and practice. New neural connections form and strengthen as you learn, while unused pathways weaken. This physical change underpins the mental belief that you can improve. Activating growth mindset leverages this plasticity, fostering behaviors and attitudes that promote continual learning and resilience. At the heart of growth mindset activation is the reframing of challenges and failure. Instead of viewing them as threats, they become opportunities for growth and information. This shift transforms your emotional response to difficulties. Where a fixed mindset might evoke shame or discouragement, a growth mindset inspires curiosity and determination. This change in perspective is fundamental because your emotions influence motivation, focus, and problem-solving capacity. Embracing effort is another hallmark of the growth mindset. Effort is not a sign of inadequacy but the pathway to mastery. The process of deliberate practice, focused, goal-oriented, and reflective repetition strengthens skills and deepens understanding. Recognizing effort as the vehicle for progress shifts your valuation from outcomes alone to the learning journey. This perspective encourages persistence through obstacles, reducing the temptation to quit when faced with difficulty. Language plays a powerful role in shaping mindset. The words you use to describe yourself, your abilities, and your experiences either reinforce fixed or growth perspectives. Phrases like "I can't do this" or "I'm just not good at it" entrench fixed beliefs, while statements such as "I haven't mastered this yet" or "I can improve with practice" foster growth. Mindful adjustment of your self-talk reprograms mental scripts, creating a fertile ground for development. Feedback and criticism are often avoided by fixed mindset individuals because they are perceived as personal attacks. Growth mindset activation involves reinterpreting feedback as valuable information that guides improvement. This shift encourages openness to learning from mistakes and external input. Constructive criticism becomes a gift rather than a threat, accelerating your path to competence. Modeling is an effective way to internalize growth mindset. Observing mentors, peers, or leaders who exemplify learning orientation, embracing challenges, persisting, and reflecting provides tangible examples to emulate. Stories of famous figures who overcame failures and setbacks highlight the universality of growth mindset principles and inspire personal adoption. Creating a culture that supports growth mindset enhances your ability to sustain it. Whether in families, workplaces, or communities, environments that value learning, curiosity, and effort foster psychological safety. This safety allows risk-taking without fear of ridicule or punishment, essential for experimentation and innovation. Cultivating or seeking such environments nourishes your growth trajectory. Overcoming deeply ingrained fixed mindset patterns requires consistent effort and self-compassion. Old beliefs may resurface during stress or failure. Instead of self-judgment, approach these moments as opportunities to practice awareness and choice. Techniques such as journaling about your thoughts and reactions help externalize and examine limiting beliefs, facilitating transformation. Visualization and mental rehearsal are tools to activate growth mindset neurologically. Imagining yourself engaging in learning, tackling challenges, and persisting builds neural pathways associated with growth behaviors. Combined with real practice, visualization strengthens confidence and readiness. Setting learning goals alongside performance goals balances outcome orientation with process focus. For instance, aiming to master a particular skill or understand a concept encourages exploration, experimentation, and incremental progress. Learning goals reduce pressure for immediate success, fostering patience and resilience. Embracing uncertainty and complexity is essential in growth mindset activation. The willingness to step into the unknown, make mistakes, and iterate is the engine of innovation and personal development. This openness counters the fixed mindset's desire for certainty and perfection, enabling adaptation in a rapidly changing world. Mindset influences how you interpret effort and setbacks neurologically. When viewed positively, effort triggers dopamine release associated with reward, reinforcing persistence. Negative interpretations reduce dopamine and increase stress hormones, impairing motivation. By consciously framing your experience, you influence your brain chemistry to support growth. Habits aligned with growth mindset such as curiosity, reflection, and seeking feedback anchor the mindset into daily life. Regularly practicing these habits creates momentum and embeds growth-oriented neural circuits. Small, consistent actions build resilience and adaptability. The identity shift is profound in growth mindset activation. Moving from seeing yourself as not a learner or not talented to embracing an identity as a lifelong learner reshapes your relationship with challenges. Identity influences behavior powerfully, therefore, affirming your commitment to growth reinforces adaptive choices and effort. Resilience and growth mindset are interdependent. A growth mindset fosters resilience by framing setbacks as opportunities. Resilience supports growth by providing emotional strength to persevere. Together, they create a feedback loop that sustains success mode through ups and downs. It is important to integrate reflection into your growth practice. Reflecting on successes, failures, and learning experiences deepens understanding and informs strategy. Reflection turns experience into wisdom, accelerating your development. Social accountability enhances growth mindset by creating commitment and support. Sharing goals, progress, and challenges with trusted others generates encouragement and perspective. Accountability partners can challenge fixed beliefs and celebrate growth milestones, reinforcing motivation. The relationship between mindset and emotion is reciprocal. Positive emotions such as hope, excitement, and pride promote growth behaviors, while growth behaviors enhance positive emotions. Conversely, negative emotions can challenge growth mindset but also serve as signals for adjustment and learning. Growth mindset activation is a continual, dynamic process. Life circumstances, stress, and setbacks test your mindset, requiring ongoing attention and adjustment. Viewing growth mindset as a lifelong commitment, rather than a one-time achievement, fosters humility and perseverance. Incorporating growth mindset into your broader success framework aligns mental attitudes with strategies such as focus, resilience, and emotional intelligence. This integration magnifies your capacity for sustained achievement and personal fulfillment. Chapter 10: Social Psychology of Success: Building Powerful Connections. In the pursuit of success, much emphasis is placed on individual effort, talent, and mindset. However, the social fabric surrounding us wields profound influence over the trajectory of our lives. Humans are inherently social beings, wired to connect, communicate, and collaborate. The social psychology of success explores how our interactions, networks, and relationships shape our beliefs, behaviors, and opportunities. Activating success mode involves mastering not only your inner world but also the complex dynamics of social environments. This chapter unpacks the subtle and powerful ways that social factors influence achievement and how you can cultivate connections that propel your growth and impact. At its core, social psychology reveals that we are deeply influenced by the presence, expectations, and behaviors of others. This influence operates through multiple mechanisms, including social norms, conformity, social comparison, and social learning. These forces can either support or hinder your progress depending on the context and your awareness. Understanding these dynamics allows you to consciously design your social environment to maximize support and minimize negativity. One fundamental aspect is social norms, the unwritten rules that govern behavior within groups. Norms shape what is considered acceptable, valued, or rewarded. When you belong to a group that embraces ambition, learning, and integrity, these norms create a powerful culture that reinforces positive behaviors. Conversely, groups with limiting or toxic norms can stifle growth and motivation. Aligning yourself with communities whose norms support your vision is a strategic step toward activating success mode. Conformity, the tendency to align with group behaviors and beliefs, exerts strong pressure on individuals. While conformity can maintain social harmony, it can also perpetuate limiting beliefs or complacency. Recognizing the pull of conformity helps you resist adopting detrimental attitudes and encourages you to be a catalyst for positive change within your networks. Courageously expressing your values and aspirations, even when they differ from the majority, strengthens your leadership and authenticity. Social comparison, the process of evaluating yourself relative to others, has nuanced effects on motivation and self-esteem. Upward comparisons to those who appear more successful can inspire growth or provoke discouragement depending on mindset and interpretation. Downward comparisons may boost confidence temporarily but risk complacency. Cultivating an internal frame of reference that values your unique journey over external benchmarks fosters resilience and sustained motivation. Social learning, or modeling, is the mechanism by which observing others influences your attitudes and behaviors. Seeing peers or mentors navigate challenges, persevere, and innovate provides concrete examples that success is attainable and methods to emulate. Selecting role models aligned with your values and goals enriches your social learning and expands your behavioral repertoire. Building powerful connections requires intentionality in both breadth and depth. Broad networks expose you to diverse ideas, opportunities, and perspectives, enhancing creativity and resourcefulness. Deep relationships offer trust, support, and meaningful collaboration that sustain you emotionally and professionally. Balancing these dimensions optimizes your social capital for success. Trust is the currency of deep connections. It develops through consistent integrity, vulnerability, and reciprocity. Demonstrating reliability and openness invites others to invest in you, creating a foundation for mutual growth. Trustworthy relationships provide psychological safety, enabling risk-taking and honest feedback essential for development. Effective communication is central to cultivating and maintaining connections. This includes clarity, active listening, empathy, and authenticity. Communication is not just about exchanging information but about building understanding and rapport. Skills in nonverbal cues, tone, and responsiveness enhance your relational impact and influence. Networking, often misunderstood as superficial or transactional, is most powerful when approached as genuine relationship building. Engaging with curiosity, offering value without immediate expectation, and following up thoughtfully establish a reputation of generosity and reliability. Strategic networking opens doors to mentors, collaborators, and opportunities that accelerate your success. Social influence, the ability to shape others' attitudes or behaviors, is a potent aspect of social psychology. Influence operates through persuasion, social proof, authority, and likability. Ethical influence respects autonomy and fosters mutual benefit. Developing influence skills empowers you to inspire, negotiate, and lead effectively. Group dynamics influence motivation and behavior significantly. Being part of high-performing teams or communities energizes individuals through shared goals, accountability, and support. Conversely, dysfunctional groups breed conflict and disengagement. Contributing positively to group culture and selecting your affiliations wisely enhances your social ecosystem. Conflict, an inevitable aspect of social interaction, can either derail relationships or catalyze growth depending on management. Emotional intelligence, active listening, and collaborative problem-solving transform conflict into opportunity. Navigating disagreements constructively strengthens bonds and fosters innovation. Social identity, the part of your self-concept derived from group memberships, shapes your values and behavior. Aligning your social identities with your goals reinforces congruence and motivation. Conversely, conflicting identities can cause internal tension. Reflecting on your social identities helps clarify your social needs and guide your interactions. Feedback is a critical social mechanism for learning and improvement. Seeking and receiving feedback requires humility and openness. Providing constructive feedback with care builds trust and reciprocity. Effective feedback loops enhance your self-awareness and skill development. Social support buffers stress and fosters resilience. Emotional, informational, and instrumental support from your network sustains you during challenges. Actively nurturing support systems and offering support in return creates reciprocal networks that amplify success. Digital social environments add complexity to social psychology. Online platforms offer unprecedented connectivity but also risks of superficiality, misinformation, and social comparison. Navigating digital interactions mindfully, balancing virtual and face-to-face connections, optimizes your social capital. Cultural and societal contexts shape social norms, communication styles, and relationship expectations. Developing cultural competence enhances your ability to build diverse and inclusive networks. This competence fosters empathy and adaptability in globalized environments. Leadership within social networks amplifies your impact. Effective leaders cultivate vision, inspire trust, foster collaboration, and empower others. Leadership is not limited to formal roles but is expressed through influence and initiative in any social context. Power dynamics affect social interactions and access to resources. Awareness of power structures helps you navigate relationships strategically and ethically. Empowering others and practicing servant leadership builds sustainable influence. Social motivation, the desire for affiliation, status, or influence drives social behavior. Aligning social motivations with authentic values creates fulfilling connections and ethical success. Social rituals and traditions reinforce bonds and shared identities. Participating in and creating meaningful rituals enhance connection and belonging. Embracing vulnerability deepens social bonds and authenticity. Sharing struggles and aspirations invites empathy and support, fostering reciprocal openness. Social learning communities, groups dedicated to shared learning and growth, provide powerful platforms for accelerating development and accountability. Building social resilience, the capacity to withstand and recover from social stressors, enhances your overall resilience. Strategies include boundary setting, selective engagement, and cultivating positive social interactions. Ethical considerations in social psychology emphasize respect, fairness, and empathy in all interactions, fostering trust and integrity. Decision-making is the crucible in which your future is forged. Every choice, from the seemingly trivial to the profoundly consequential, shapes the course of your life. Yet despite its critical importance, decision-making remains one of the most complex, misunderstood, and emotionally charged aspects of human behavior. To activate success mode, mastering the art and science of decision-making is indispensable. This chapter delves into the intricate psychology behind how decisions are made, explores common cognitive pitfalls, and presents strategies to make wiser, faster, and more confident choices that align with your goals and values. At the heart of decision-making lies the interplay between rational analysis and intuitive judgment. The human brain employs two broad systems, a fast, automatic, and often subconscious intuitive system, and a slower, deliberate, analytical system. Both serve essential functions, and effective decision-making involves knowing when to rely on each. Intuition draws on accumulated experience and pattern recognition, enabling rapid responses in familiar contexts. Analytical thinking breaks down complex problems, evaluates alternatives, and weighs consequences, crucial for novel or high-stakes situations. Cognitive biases, however, can distort both intuitive and analytical processes. These mental shortcuts or heuristics help navigate complexity but often lead to systematic errors. For instance, confirmation bias causes you to seek or interpret information in ways that confirm existing beliefs, leading to selective perception and flawed judgments. Anchoring bias makes initial information disproportionately influential, skewing estimates and choices. Understanding these biases is the first step in mitigating their impact. Another common trap is the availability heuristic, where you overestimate the importance or likelihood of events that are more memorable or recent, regardless of their actual frequency. This can cause disproportionate fear or optimism, leading to poor risk assessment. Recognizing such distortions requires deliberate reflection and consultation of objective data where possible. Decision fatigue is a psychological phenomenon where the quality of decisions deteriorates after a long session of decision-making. The brain's resources for self-control and attention are finite, and as they deplete, you become more prone to impulsivity, avoidance, or defaulting to the easiest choice. Managing decision fatigue involves structuring your day to handle critical decisions when your mental energy is highest and automating routine choices through habits and systems. Emotional influences pervade decision-making. Emotions serve as valuable signals but can also cloud judgment when they overwhelm reason. Fear, anxiety, excitement, or anger can bias risk perception and lead to rash or overly cautious decisions. Emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize and regulate your feelings, thus enhances decision quality by balancing affect and cognition. Risk tolerance varies widely among individuals and contexts. Understanding your personal comfort with uncertainty and potential loss allows you to make decisions consistent with your psychological makeup, reducing regret and enhancing commitment. Strategies like scenario planning and contingency analysis help manage uncertainty by preparing for multiple outcomes. Framing effects demonstrate how the presentation of choices influences decisions. The same option framed in terms of gains versus losses can produce different preferences. Being aware of framing helps you reframe problems to gain a balanced perspective and avoid manipulation. The paradox of choice highlights that too many options can overwhelm, causing indecision or dissatisfaction. Simplifying choices through criteria, priorities, or elimination reduces cognitive load and speeds decision-making. Establishing core values and goals beforehand acts as a compass guiding decisions amidst complexity. Time pressure influences decision processes. Under urgency, people rely more on intuition and heuristics, which can be efficient but error-prone. When possible, allocate sufficient time for important decisions to allow thorough analysis and reflection. Gathering information is crucial but can lead to analysis paralysis if excessive. Effective decision-making balances adequate data collection with timely action. Setting limits on research and using trusted sources increases efficiency. Decisional commitment is strengthened by clarity of purpose and confidence in the process. Techniques such as pros and cons lists, cost-benefit analysis, and impact visualization enhance clarity. Engaging trusted advisors provides external perspectives that challenge blind spots and broaden understanding. Post-decision reflection is vital for learning and adjustment. Evaluating outcomes, identifying errors, and integrating lessons improve future decision-making skills. This reflective practice fosters humility and growth mindset, reinforcing success mode. Moral and ethical considerations complicate decisions. Aligning choices with personal and societal values ensures integrity and long-term fulfillment. This alignment requires self-awareness and courage, especially when facing pressure or trade-offs. Delegation and collaboration in decision-making leverage collective intelligence. Complex problems benefit from diverse perspectives and expertise. Effective communication and trust are essential for shared decisions and accountability. Technology offers decision support through data analytics, simulations, and artificial intelligence. These tools enhance information processing but require critical evaluation and human judgment to avoid over-reliance or bias. Cultural factors shape decision styles, risk perceptions, and communication. Cross-cultural competence improves decision-making in diverse environments by respecting differing values and expectations. Developing decisiveness, the ability to make decisions promptly and confidently, is a skill honed through practice and exposure to varying scenarios. Avoidance or procrastination reduces momentum and increases stress. Balancing intuition and analysis is dynamic. Cultivating metacognition, the awareness of your thinking processes, enables you to switch flexibly between modes depending on context. Visualization techniques enhance decision confidence by mentally rehearsing potential choices and outcomes. This mental simulation reduces anxiety and clarifies preferences. Goal alignment is paramount. Decisions anchored in clear, authentic goals reduce ambiguity and increase motivation for follow-through. Revisiting and refining goals ensures decisions remain relevant as circumstances evolve. Managing uncertainty involves embracing ambiguity and building tolerance for incomplete information. Adaptive decision-making recognizes when to act and when to wait for more data. Chapter 11, Overcoming Procrastination: The Science of Taking Action. Procrastination is one of the most pervasive barriers to activating success mode, silently robbing countless individuals of their potential. It masquerades as harmless delay or temporary hesitation but gradually erodes momentum, fosters stress, and perpetuates cycles of self-doubt and underachievement. To overcome procrastination is to reclaim your power